Hello, I'm Daljit Dhaliwal in Washington, D.C. The main stories brought to you by Al Jazeera. The United Nations has launched a new appeal for almost $500 million to help victims of the Pakistani flood disaster. It is also warning that many more people could die soon through hunger and disease and sickness unless aid comes soon. The UN's humanitarian chief told Al Jazeera he was hopeful that the international community would deliver.
In this particular case, you have to have the money quickly. You have to save the lives while the lives are there to be saved. And I think the donors appreciate that. So I'm reasonably optimistic that we will get the money we need, and not all of it perhaps, but as a good proportion of it, and we'll get it quickly, because I think people are beginning to understand the sheer magnitude of the disaster that's overtaking Pakistan this time.
In China, landslides caused by flooding have left over 1,000 people dead, many of them buried alive in their homes. Thousands of troops and volunteers are searching for survivors in northwest Gansu province. The government has raised the official death toll to 1,100, with more than 600 people still missing. At least 20 people have been killed in a grenade attack in the center of the Rwandan capital, Kigali. It comes as the country's electoral commission announced the results of Monday's presidential vote. President Paul Kagame has won another 7-year term in office, winning 93% of the vote. But opponents say that the election was marred by repression and violence. A jury has been selected for the trial of Guantanamo Bay detainee Omar Khadr. The charges against Canadian-born Khadr, who was 15 at the time of his detention, include the murder of a U.S. soldier. Now 23, he is facing the first military trial of the Obama administration. Opening arguments in the trial are expected on Thursday. 11 bodies have been pulled from the rubble of a house in Iraq that was booby-trapped with explosives. 8 of the dead were Iraqi soldiers on an operation in the village of Al-Sadiya near Bukuba in Diyala province. The identities of the other 3 aren't yet known. The army says that they died during an earlier raid at the house by gunmen. Brazil has signed up to the latest United Nations sanctions against Iran over its nuclear program. Brazil helped broker an Iranian nuclear fuel swap deal in May in the hope that it might delay new sanctions. But the United States and Europe rejected the deal, and the United Nations Security Council imposed a 4th round of sanctions in June. And those are the top stories, but don't forget you can keep up to date with all of the news all of the time on our website at aljazeera.net/English.